Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make Boo from Monsters Inc. So I've got some Saraceno that I've coloured in purple, and we're just going to roll a rough oval shape, and then we're just going to flatten it at the bottom. Make sure that it's slightly thinner at the bottom than it is at the top. I'm going to chop off some of the excess from the top, and then I'm just going around and just edging it off slightly, and just going back and forth between my fingers and my thumb just to get it into a nice shape. So we kind of want it to come up at the sides at the top, and this is just going to be where her head is going to sit. And then we're just going to mark in some lines, just that these are going to be for movement really, to make it look like it's got some creases and things like that in. So you want one either side of the bottom of the neck. And then we're going to get some white Saraceno. We're going to roll like a pointed teardrop, and you can see there I'm just pushing it onto the bench to flatten the bottom. And this is going to create the shoe. We're going to curl it up at the front a little bit and do the same for the other. And then just with the back of the Dresden tool, we're going to create a little bit of an arch, and this is just going to be where the shoes are going to sit. So we're just going to push them on like so. I have them sticking out so they're pointing different directions, just as it is in the picture. And once you're happy with this rough shape that we've got, we're just going to mark in a few more lines just around the bottom of the feet to create a bit more movement. And you can see that when I'm making the line, I am smoothing it out with my finger, just to take the edge off it. I don't want it to be too deep. And then just going in around the sides as well. And then we're going to mark in some lines all the way around, just using a scriber needle. So if you actually look at her outfit, it's kind of split into 4 areas. So we're just going to do this roughly all the way around. Now they don't want to be straight because obviously there's a bit of movement in the outfit that she's got on. And you don't want to be pressing too hard because we're not looking to move the fondant, we're just looking to mark it a little bit. And then I'm going to put a kebab skewer all the way through, just twisting it to get it in. And then I'm just going to secure it onto a polystyrene dummy, just deep enough so that when I put it in the cake, it's got something to anchor on. Now for the arms, we're going to roll again, kind of like a long teardrop shape. And we're just going to point it off at one end. And again, don't make it straight, we want a little bit of movement. And I'm just securing it with a cocktail stick. So I always put the cocktail stick in the arm first, then take it out, then put it in the body, and then push the arm back on. We're going to do the same for the other side. So I've got one coming up and one coming down. And now we're just going to make some extra little detailing of some sort of like diagonals all the way on the body. And then I've rolled some white circles, and these are just going to be put on the arm. And I've just got a really small ball tool, so I'm digging it into the circle or the ball that I've rolled, and I'm just pushing my ball tool into there. So you can't really see very well with the lighting, but it's sort of giving me kind of like a suction, like the bottom of an octopus. So next I've got some Saraceno skin tone, and I've just added a bit of chestnut to this. I'm going to roll an oval, and you can see there that I've just marked in the line in the middle for the eyes, and then using the fingers for the eye sockets, pushing up for the nose, and then we're just going to use the end of a brush just to roll down on the nose as well. We're going to round that off slightly. Try not to make the nose too big, and I've just pushed a little indentation where the mouth is going to go. And you can see that I'm just rolling over everything that I do so that I don't end up with any lines. We're going to put in some nostrils, and then I'm just going around the nose, just separating the nose from that side of the face. Again, just reinforcing the eye sockets that I've got. And with Saraceno, you can do this as many times as you want, and it will always move without cracking. And then we're going to again, just go around, this time with a silicone tip, just to sort of like mark in where her nostrils would be. And again, just smoothing as I'm doing this. Next, 2 little dimples either side, and then we're just going to cut across, and we're going to lift that top lip out, and then lift down the bottom lip, and I'm just pushing with my finger to create the top lip, and then I'm just pushing with the Dresden tool either side to move the lump over towards the cheek, and just going over and redefining that lip. A little bit of a cupid's bow in the middle, and we're just going to roll that bottom lip up and then go ahead and mark in our lip. And you can see I'm just pushing up the curves there and just extending the mouth a little bit, going over those dimples, and then we're just going to use the Dresden tool to lift out the top lip. We want it to lift out a little bit. We're going to put some teeth in there, so I've just got a little bit of white Saraceno, just wetting the upper bit of the lip area, and you can see I'm just pushing in the white there. These silicone tips are really, really useful because they're so thin at the end that they just help push everything into place. You can see that I'm just making the smile a little bit wider, and then again we're going to do the similar thing for the bottom, but this time I'm just going to flatten it off a little bit and make it a little bit smaller. We're just going to pop that in, and then using your tool just push that in place. This is going to give her the smile. Again, just pushing and smoothing anywhere that you feel needs it. And I'm just going over that bottom lip a little bit more and trying to get rid of any lines that I've got. I'm going to chop off underneath the face, so just with a brush I'm just going underneath the chin and then pushing it down with my fingers, and it's just getting rid of any of that excess that I've got there, and then I'm able to shape the face a little bit more. Trimming off the excess. So you can see this is the rough size of the face, and just checking it against what I've already done. I'm going to mark in the eye sockets. So I like to do this so that the white, when I put it on, is sitting in something and not on top of something. So you're going to mark in the eye socket and do the same for the other eye. And then a little bit of white fondant that I've just flattened out a little bit against the table, and I'm just going to push that into place. And then you'll do the same for the other eye. And then I've got some of the skin tone that I'm going to use here, and this is just going to be for the colour bit in the eye. So it's quite small and quite flat, and I just pop it in and then smooth it over with a Dresden tool and just pushing it down with my finger. And then same for the other side. So I've put her one eye closer to the centre of the face and one eye closer to the outside of the face. So I'm going to have her so she's looking away. And then with some dark brown sugar flare, I'm just going to go around the edges of the eyes. This is quite concentrated, I want it to be quite dark. Don't use too much water on the brush because it will leak. And then we're going to colour in the eye. So it doesn't matter at this point if it goes too dark. Like you can see this one I've put a little bit too much colour on and it's dark all over. Ideally what we want is we want it to be darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. So all I've done is used a little bit of kitchen roll and taken off the excess colour, and then just re-gone over with some dark brown just at the top of the eye. Now we don't have to blend it in too much because once we've got the pupil in the eye, the colour bit of the pupil, that will actually, it'll look quite blended in quite nicely. So same as the colour of the eye, we've got some black dots, and I'm just pushing that in and stretching it out to the shape and the size that I want it to be. find this easier than painting, guys. It just saves so much time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the eyeliner on. So again, just a really thin piece of fondant that we've tapered off at one side to be quite pointy. And then I'm just going to go in and chop the excess off like that. Then we've got some tiny white bits just for the reflector in the eye. And then I'm going to paint just with a tiny bit of water in some brown just underneath the eye to give it some definition. So it's just a tiny, tiny bit of colour with this one. And the brush is barely wet. Next we're going to paint the eyebrows. So again with the same brown. I'm just doing little tiny hair strokes just up from the middle. Just a thin line to start off with and then building it up as and where I need it to go. And then the same with the other side. So it looks like this. I've got some rose coloured powder that I'm just going to put on the cheeks. I usually do the cheeks, the chin, the nose and just sort of like the middle bit of the forehead there. And now we're going to do the hair. So I'm going to make this little hat that's sort of thicker in the middle and thinner on the outside. And we're just going to push that into place so that it covers the back of the head. And I'm not using any water to stick this bit on, I'm just pushing it into place. And then for the fringe, we're going to roll a sausage and I've just flattened it down a little bit. And then I'm just going over it with like a plastic knife and just creating sort of like little strands of hair in the fringe. Once you've measured it against Boo's face, you're going to trim off the top and trim off the sides once it's actually on the face itself. So you're going to push that on and just wrap it around, and then you can see I'm just taking off the excess at the sides there. And then with a scriber needle, I'm just going to go over some of the hair just to create a little bit more definition in some of the thicker parts. So it's up to you how much detail you put in something like this. Could get away with a few strands. And then it's just some skin coloured blobs of fondant. We're just going to use our brush, the back end of that, just to push in and make the ears. And then I'm just going to attach it with a cocktail stick, a little bit of water on it. And we're just going to push the head on the cocktail stick like that. And then I'm just going to make something for the back of the head to bring it out a little bit more. This is so that the hair and the hood of what she's wearing sort of just stands up a little bit more off the actual face. Same method as what I did for the black hair that we just put on. And then we've got a strip of purple fondant. I'm going to tie this on top of her head. Just overhanging slightly of the additional bit that we put on top of the head, like so. So you can see that's lifted it off the face. And we're just going to blend that in to the side of the mask on both sides. And then wet the top bit, and I've got some yellowy browny fondant. I think this was made with autumn leaf. We've got a strip of that we're just going to wrap around the face, trimming off the excess on both sides. And now for the ears, the eyes, on top of the face. So we've got a white circle with a black dot in the middle, and then I've just wrapped it in purple fondant. I've got a little bit more purple fondant on a cocktail stick, and we're just going to stick those in on the top of the head like that. And then for the little bits of brown hair, I've just coloured a couple of different colours of brown and trimmed off the excess, trimmed them all roughly the same length. And we're just going to attach these to the back of the head. And at this point, all we're really doing is we're just building it up. Now I've let these dry or cool down, should I say, slightly, so that when I'm putting them on, I'm able to flick them out a little bit and it stays in that position. And you're just going to go around the whole of the head, just attaching these little bits on They're kind of like messy from the picture, if I remember rightly, that I was copying at the time. So you're going to build it up like that. And then I've got some pink skin tone sugar flare, and I'm just going to paint this colour on top of the lips. So it's just skin tone with just a little bit of fuchsia in there, just to bring it out a little bit more. And then I've got some tiny white dots just to put a little bit of light reflector in the outfit eyes. Just using the Dresden tool to put them on, and a little bit of water. And then we're going to do some teeth for the outfit. So I've just cut some little triangles out. I'm going to stick them on the bottom first. It's a bit fiddly, this bit. So you can see I'm just using my finger and my tool just to push it into place, and doing the same at the top. And just building up until you've got maybe about 8 teeth, I would say. So here's what it should look like. And here's her on top of the cake. And here's the cake that I made using this figure. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, don't forget to subscribe, and feel free to give this video a share. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please click the links on the screen now. Thanks for watching.